Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with Clara Rose. Thank you for joining me once again. Today I'm going to talk about something that just came up this past weekend. Now, in the past, if you've been following me for a few years, I have spoken at least briefly about it, but I think it's important, so I'm going to touch on it again today. It is also touched on to a certain extent in my latest book, 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business, Strategy and Mindset for the New Entrepreneur. So if you don't have yourself a copy of this, you can hop over to Amazon and find a copy of 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business. And I think it's number 6 in the ways to mind your own business, talking about making connections with people and how we craft our message so that it is the correct message when we make connections with people. So this past weekend, I was in Naples and I had the honor of being at one of my author's book launches. I don't always get to be there, but it was super exciting for me to be there to, stand by her while she got, pictures, and there were balloons and all the fun that comes along with making a big production out of launching a book. She had a book signing, and then of course I spoke at her event. It was a 2-day event in Naples called Awakening Your Gift. As a matter of fact, we had Yasmin Brown on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about the event that was coming up. So that's the event that I was at that I'm talking about. And I spoke about crafting your message for the world, how people see you and think about you in your business, ministry, cause, or brand. And after the event, so many ladies came up to me and said, I have never heard that before. Now, granted, these are new entrepreneurs, so that could be part of it. But even those people who have been around for a while said, I've just never heard it said in that way. I think that little formula you use is brilliant. So I thought this is a great thing to have on the show once again, just so that those of you who haven't heard it can use this tool. Put this in your toolbox. All right, so we're going to hop on into crafting your message. All right, we're going to talk about a few things today. So let me just give you the rundown really quick. We're going to talk about your superpowers, whether you know that you have them or not, you do. We're going to talk about your power words and your power phrases, your power position, and your power introduction. These are all a part of crafting your message for the world. So we're going to talk about each one of these pieces individually, and when we're done, you'll see how it all ties together and helps you craft your message. All of them are important steps, so you can't skip over them to the end. I want you to hear all of them. All right, let's start with a quote or a phrase this is one of my power phrases, actually. So as I read it, pay attention to what I say. Savvy entrepreneurs are successful because they are strategic and intentional. So, of course, be strategic, be intentional, be savvy. Now, you'll notice in that power phrase that I told you what it takes to be successful, but I also used some of my own power words in describing that to you. And that's one of the things we're going to learn today. All right, let's hop into crafting your message for the world. All right. Number 1, I'm going to drop a little nugget of truth on you. You are not the only one. You're not the only person trying to do what you're trying to do. And guess what? That's okay. You can still stand out from the crowd through your messaging. And here, of course, is my savvy tip on this. If there's no one in the marketplace doing it, be aware. There might be a reason for it. So I love to give this example, and I gave it this past weekend, and the ladies laughed because it's just funny. Years ago, I found a picture of a sumo wrestler in a tutu and ballet shoes doing, a little spin up on your toes. And it was a sumo ballerina, and it made me laugh. But I thought, is there really a marketplace for a sumo ballerina? I don't know if there is or not, but that's just a great example. When you're looking at the marketplace and thinking about what it is that you want to do or what your new business, ministry, cause, or brand is trying to accomplish, if there is nobody in the marketplace doing it, there could very well be a reason for that. So just tuck that in the back of your brain. It's got to be something that people want or need if you're going to be successful as a business owner. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about your superpower. Remember, I said you had a superpower, whether you knew you had a superpower or not. So here's what I'm talking about, your uniqueness. So I love Emerson, so I'm going to give you an Emerson quote. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And my savvy tip here, of course, is be unapologetically you and your people will find you. What do I mean by your people will find you? I mean when you step into your own uniqueness, your own weirdness, if you want to call it weirdness, the people who are like you, who think like you or want to be like you or want to think like you are going to be attracted to you. Those are your people. So if you just can be authentically who you are in your business endeavor, your ministry endeavor, whatever it is you're trying to create, those people that are going to be attracted to you, they're going to find you. Your people, your tribe, they're going to find you. So you get out there and start talking about, from an authentic place, what it is you're trying to accomplish, and the right people will come, I promise. That's your superpower. How you're different, how you're unique, that's your superpower. So I like to give this example for myself personally. There are a lot of people out there who do books, who work on books, who will edit your book, who will help you publish your book. There are a lot of people out there who will call themselves a coach, a book coach, or there are agents out there, literary agents out there that will help you with these things. There are small publishing houses that will help you. There are hybrid publishing houses such as mine that will help you. I'm a literary consultant and I help people get their book out into the world. I do other things, of course, but that's one of my primary things that I do. Now, there's a bunch of people out there doing what I do. So how do I stand out? How do I make my business different? Well, I am unique in that I created my business to be author-centric. I created it to be what's best for my author, right? So I come in and help them put together their book. So we do the brainstorm and blueprint. We pull together all the pieces of the book. I help them with the editing of the book. I do the final formatting, and then I help them choose the best publishing option for them. I charge for my services right up front. I don't own any royalties. I don't own any rights to your book, and that's unique. That's different in the book publishing marketplace. They usually get a piece of your pie forever. I don't get a piece of your pie forever. That's something different about me, something different about the way I function. So think about your business or your ministry, your cause, your brand. Think, how can I stand out? How can I be different? What is my superpower? What will make people think, oh, I know exactly who to call, right? When people want to publish their book, I want them to think, you know what? I need to call Clara. Or they hear someone say, I'm ready to publish my book. I'm ready to write my book. I have the person for you. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Owning that uniqueness and stepping into it. All right, let's move on. I don't want to run out of time before I get through all of the pieces. First, we're going to start with your bank of power words. Now, your bank of power words are words that you are currently using to describe your business, what you do, or words that you would actually like to be known for. So I want you to sit down and brainstorm until you have 25 to 50 words written down in what I like to call your bank, your power word bank. And your savvy tip here, of course, is your bank of power words is a resource for creating all of your marketing message. Use it to attract the right audience. So this isn't something that you can breeze right on by. This is one of those things that takes a little time. And at the conference last weekend, one of the ladies said, I started trying to write my bank of power words, and my mind just went blank. And I assured her, and I'm going to assure you right now, it's not going to just pop right into your head. It's going to take a little time. Give it the effort that it's due. This is a really important first step. Now think back to in the beginning when I used that power phrase. I said that savvy entrepreneurs, that's how they knew I was talking to them specifically, my tribe, right? I used savvy and entrepreneur. Those are words from my bank of power words. And then I said they're successful because they're strategic and they're intentional, right? Those are also words that come from my bank of power words. Those are things that are important in my business structure and just who I am as a person. It's how I think even. I'm strategic and I'm intentional. And all of my marketing message has strategic and intentional built right into it. And those are the words that I want you to capture. So you're not going to capture them right now while you're listening to me talk. I want you to sit down with a piece of paper or computer, however you like to capture things, and just think about the words that you're currently using. And even more importantly, if you're a newbie, the words that you want to be using or to be known for by others, right? If you want to be known as the best caterer of homemade Mexican cuisine in your area, grab those words and get them written down in your bank of power words, because we're going to use them in the creation of your marketing message. Okay, once you've spent the time pulling together your power words, 25 to 50 is where I want you to land. The more the better, honestly. Get those words captured, and then it's time to move on to the next step. So let's move on to that right now. So we're going to take your bank of power words and we're going to create a list of power phrases. So remember, these are words that you're already currently using or words that you would like to be known for. You're going to pull those words from your bank of power words and you're going to create phrases that describe your brand, your business, your ministry, your cause. Here's your savvy tip here. Words matter, so choose wisely. You probably hear me all the time saying this matters and that matters, but words, I'm telling you, words really do matter. This is an important one. As you string together those words and create phrases, you want to be able to say those phrases, not just in your marketing message, but to actually be able to regurgitate some of these phrases when you're out networking. So I will often say when I'm public, savvy entrepreneurs are successful because they're strategic and intentional. Be strategic, be intentional, be savvy, right? It's the message that I'm trying to spread that connects with my business model, right? The savvy entrepreneur has a book that they can use as a tool to organically generate leads in their business, ministry, cause, or brand. Now, do you see what I just did there? That's another power phrase, right? You already heard my first one. That's another power phrase that I use, right? I help entrepreneurs create a book that is a tool that they can use to organically generate leads for their business, ministry, cause, or brand. That's one of my power phrases that I use to tell people, my followers, my tribe, I use that to connect with them. That's part of my marketing message. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Pull from that bank of words till you've created your own group of phrases that you could use in your marketing message and when you're out networking. Super important. All right. Also not something you're going to do right now, but it's on your list to do in a little while. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about your power position. Now, what is a power position? A power position is really just how you want others to see your business, ministry, cause, or brand, what you want them to think of when they think of you. So you don't want to leave this to chance. You get to decide what that looks like. And it all starts with you making a decision. I am a what? What am I? And then I'm on a mission to do what? The power position is really for you. Here's my savvy tip, of course, here. Be intentional about how you show up. Decide who and what you want to be known for. Now, if you want to be known as the lady who wears pink, you're going to always wear pink, right? That's kind of a silly example, but that's just the kind of thing that I'm trying to get you to think about. I am a what? And I'm on a mission to do what? So I might say, I am a literary consultant, or I am an editor, I am a consultant or an author or a publisher, whatever word I want to use in that particular setting about myself. And I'm on a mission to help entrepreneurs create their book. That is a tool that they can use to organically generate leads for their business, ministry, cause, or brand. So I'm connecting with my marketing message. I'm a literary consultant. It might be in my other life, because we own 3 businesses, I might say, I'm an investor and I help people who are in a difficult situation get out from under their house and save their credit, right? So there's who I am and my mission. So whatever you're working on, whatever you're trying to create, who am I and what are you trying to do? What are you on a mission to do? This is really more for you than it is for your marketing message, but start here. Make that connection so you know who it is that you are. You don't want to stand up in a room full of people and fumble because you don't really have a good idea of who you are and what your marketing message is. Okay, let us move on to your power introduction. So this is that thing that you use when you are out there networking in the world. And I have a simple formula for you. And this is what all the ladies were saying. Oh, I've never heard this. This is fabulous. My name is, or you can say I am if you prefer. Then I work with, or I help. Who do you work with? Who do you help? Who want to or need to? What did they need to accomplish? Why in the world would they hire you? What do they need? What do they want? In order to, or so they can. We'll put that into practice in a minute, but let me give you a savvy tip really quick. Crafting a memorable power introduction that people will remember is super important. Words matter, choose them wisely. All right, so let's back up and talk about this. My name is Clara Rose, or I am Clara Rose, okay? And then I work with, I've already told you, or I help. Depending on my audience, sometimes they'll say I help versus I work with. Well, I work with savvy entrepreneurs. I work with business owners, professionals. Most of them are entrepreneurs who want to. Well, they want to create a book. That's a tool, right? But what is it that you want to help them do? So they can what? For me, it's so they can organically generate leads for their business, ministry, cause, or brand. You've heard me say it repeatedly today. You might even hear it a few more times. It's about who you are, who you work with, and what you do for them, and what the outcome is. So you're painting a picture kind of in a story format a little bit. You're saying, hey, here's who I am. If you're a savvy entrepreneur, you're my people. You're calling out to your people. I can do this, so you can do that. It sounds confusing until you have written it down and started practicing it. Now, I'm sure that if you're brand new to the entrepreneurial world, that you have been out doing some networking and you've stumbled a bit. So you stand up and you're like, I am, right? Because there's a hesitancy. You haven't done the work necessary to get a firm marketing foundation. So as you think about crafting your message to attract the right people, start with your power words so that you can add those into who you are and what you do. Get your power phrases. Not everything is going to be about standing up in front of a room in a networking event and saying, I am, and this is what I do. Although you are likely going to have that opportunity in most networking situations where you stand up and say your little spiel to everyone. But there's another piece of the networking event that you also have to be prepared for. And that's before the event starts, when people are coming up and shaking your hand and saying, who are you? Hi, I'm Joe. Who are you? What is it that you do? So you need to have something that you can say to them, right? You need to have your power phrases ready in your pocket and memorized. I promise, it sounds overwhelming, but I promise you, if you spend the time crafting those phrases and you practice them regularly, even if you have to stand in front of the mirror and practice them with yourself, practice them with your spouse, practice them with the kids in the car when you're taking them to school, practice them on the dog, wherever you need to practice them. I promise that when the time comes, those things are going to fall right out of your mouth. You're going to say them because you've been strategic and intentional about crafting them, about creating them. You're really crafting your message for the world around you. Right? You're crafting your message for your business or your ministry or your cause or your brand. So, my hope is that you will take the time to craft your message for the world using these steps. First of all, discover your superpower. Discover what makes you different or unique, and then embrace it. And then, of course, your power words. I've been talking about the whole time, your power words. Build your bank of power words and use them for your marketing verbiage. Use them to create your message. Those power words then become your power phrases. Create a list of power phrases to describe your brand. Describe what you want people to know about you. Your power position, of course, is deciding how you want others to see you and your brand, how you want to show up in the business or whichever community you're trying to break into. And then your power introduction. Of course, memorizing that power introduction and using it to make your brand memorable. Saying the things that you need to say to connect with the right people. Now, of course, in longer conversations, there is always room to expand. If you get me for more than 5 minutes to talk about my book or talk about your book, I'm going to talk about other ways that I stand out in the marketplace, right? Yes, I help savvy entrepreneurs create a tool, a book they're going to use as a tool, but I might tell you how I do it. I might tell you how important it is to do a brainstorm and blueprint first, right? Get clear on what your book's going to be about. I might talk about the importance of good titles. I might talk about the importance of creating the right tool for the job, right? We're not just willy-nilly going to create a book. We want it to actually do something. We want to create a tool. If you're doing fiction, that's a different conversation. But those conversations, I've already rehearsed them all in my head to include all of my marketing message, which includes words from my bank of power words, phrases from my bank of power phrases. I'm keeping in mind the whole time my power position. Of course, my power introduction, they probably have already heard when I introduced myself. And then, of course, all of the other things that I can tell you about my business if we have a conversation that's longer than a minute or two. Exchanging cards, exchanging numbers. That is effective networking. That is the basis of the beginning of crafting your message about your business, ministry, cause, or brand. I hope that you have found this helpful. We probably next week will return to our regularly scheduled interviews, but I thought that this was super important, especially if you're a new entrepreneur. And of course, if you haven't gotten your hands on my latest book, I do have a new one coming out, so stay tuned for that. But my latest book, 8 Ways to Mind Your Own Business, Strategy and Mindset for the New Entrepreneur. You're in the beginning stages of starting a business, ministry, cause, or brand. You will find this book invaluable. It's both sides, the nuts and bolts of starting up your business, and then good mindset stuff by Debbie Clement Large, a lovely lady that co-wrote this book with me. Okay, we are just about out of time, but thank you so much for being with me. If you have an interest in being on the show, if you are out there doing something unique in the world and you would like to be a guest on Coffee with Clara Rose, if you'd like to be featured, please drop me a line over at hello@clararose.com. And we will have a conversation to see if you're a good fit for the show and to see if I'm a good fit for what you're trying to accomplish. My viewers are always looking for interesting people that they can follow, people who have something to say. If you have a book, even if I didn't help you with this book, if you have a book and you would like to come on my show and talk about it to my audience, we would love to have you. If you have a business, a ministry, a cause, or a brand, if you are making a difference in the world around you, we want to know you. We want to stand with you. Maybe some of my followers are your people. I'd love to have you at least have a conversation about being on the show. So don't forget, hello@clararose.com. Drop me an email. We'll set up a time to do a quick Zoom and see if we are a good fit for each other. I want to take just a minute to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, your busy life, to join me every week and listen to what I have to say. I hope that you find value in the things that I bring to you. I hope you find value in the guests that I interview. And I would love to hear some feedback from you. If you've seen a particular episode that made a difference in your world, I would be honored if you would share that with me. You would just drop me a line over at hello@clararose.com and say, hey, that interview with Teresa Todd inspired me. That interview with Yasmin Brown changed my life. That interview you had with Matt McWilliams inspired me to become an online entrepreneur. And I would love to hear if you hired somebody that I had on the show. I would love to connect you with people who can make a difference in your world. So if you're saying, Clara, there's something that I want to learn, there's somebody that I want to hear, I would love for you to interview them, or I'd love for you to teach us something. I am always open to new suggestions for the show. As content creators, we are always looking for good stuff that we can share with our followers. So I'm going to leave it up to you to get some of that good stuff to me to share. I am totally out of time, but once again, thank you for being here, and I will see you next week, same time, same place on Coffee with Clara Rose.